If only I decide to leave to the woods and live in a cabin to come up with my next story, this wouldn't be that story. This would instead be one of the crumpled paper sheets that goes into the bin, which if luckily survives might get posthumously published as The Creative Struggles of a Mediocre Writer. So much unwanted drama in my writing. Let's move on. We're all fearless with what's known and familiar to us. We are comfortable when we are home, and we feel safe with people around. But what about the unknown? And the unfamiliar? Going through this place, the thought of heading into the trees felt intimidating and scary. But good things and new experiences find you when you step out, explore, and put yourself out in the open. Thanks to this kind and friendly stranger, I did spend some time in the middle of trees and hills. All this helped me realize my unknown fear of being in a place that's new and far from streets and people. That's only one of many unknown fears I discovered this day, and I'm sure there are more. Not knowing or realizing what our fears are isn't the same thing as being fearless. That's the lesson I had that morning. I had some specific writing plans. But my writing plans had their own plans, and here I am talking about my struggles and fears. But it oddly feels good as I'm scribbling down these words. With every word that I put down, some thought is automatically checked off, vanishes from my mind, and makes me feel relieved. The burden of too many thoughts can be so draining and exhausting. And talking of exhaustion, the other day I set out with some plans of spending the whole day out. As I was waiting for the bus, I looked around to see what was happening. After many such minutes of illusion in which I continued to think I was waiting for the bus, I suddenly started to feel the weight of my backpack. What black and dark matter found its way into it I do not know, but it started to weigh me down. And then came the yawns, unlimited in stock, and they kept rolling out one after the other. Did this make you yawn too? It was soon followed by the strange and confused feeling that I didn't belong where I was, and a realization that I couldn't push myself through a whole day outside. Not in that state. So I did what I should. I quietly walked back home, had my breakfast, and slept. In the book Wild by Cheryl Stray, there are whole pages in which Cheryl, the author and the main character, talks about her backpack. Below are her own words. Standing, it came up to my waist. I gripped it and bent to lift it. I tried to lift it with both hands, with my legs braced beneath me. Still it would not come. It looked so cute, so ready to be lifted, and yet it was impossible to do. This was how her trip began, with a backpack that was impossible to lift. Yet, she went ahead with trekking through some impossible trails and places. I remembered her on my way back home. Of course, my backpack wasn't anywhere close to hers, and I wasn't heading to conquer wild trails filled with mountains as she did. But my backpack still managed to make me abort my mission. What was the mission? Well, I don't want to fully reveal what it is since it still is a story I want to make another day, but here's what I can tell you. The mission was to spend a whole day out as if I was somewhere else, backpacking in a new place. While it had such an interesting ending, it was another reminder of how much things have changed due to the pandemic. My failed backpack mission is proof of how unprepared I am to get back to the old ways of life. While going into the pandemic has been something totally new and exhausting for all of us, it looks like coming out of it takes more than a minimal effort too. Anyway, the moral of this failed mission backpack is to sleep well and eat well before you step out to change yourself and the world. Too much drama, I told you. I had a few outings so far to just go out and observe what was happening around. With no idea about what to capture and no clue what story to share, I still went out with the belief that I will find something. While it may not be anything breathtaking, I realized through all this that with a camera in hand, I did notice things that I otherwise would not only ignore, but also never observe. But most importantly, it helped me slow down and be more in the moment. And all of it did give me something. It gave me this story.